Pavitra, for your wonderful introduction. And thank you, Dr. Muhammad Iqbal, for inviting me as a resource person for delivering a session in your webinar series. I also thank the management, principal, and faculty members of PHG Institute of Technology and Applied Research for this wonderful opportunity. I am sure I will be able to do the justice with this presentation. So let me move on to the presentation straight away. Shall we start, sir? Yeah. I am going to present on the control strategies for higher order systems. So this is my presentation for this session. The learning objectives out of this session are to analyze few higher order systems used in process control applications, to propose a simple controller or compensator for such higher order systems, then to evaluate the effectiveness of such controller or compensator, and to exploit the use of the controller for such systems with other available techniques. Most of the real-time systems used in control applications are of higher order. I think everyone is aware of this. I know the crowd which is participating this particular seminar is from multiple disciplines. So just for the sake of the benefit of everyone, I'll just give the introduction. Most of the systems that we encounter are second order, third order, fourth order, etc. We know order is nothing but the number of poles of the transfer function of the system. Any system can be represented by the transfer function if it is a linear time invariant system, or even if it is a linear time variant or non-linear system. In the linear operating range and time invariant operating range, we can represent it using a linear time invariant system, and those systems are of higher order. We know very well that the order of the system is nothing but the number of energy storing elements present in the system. Always the energy storing elements contribute to the transfer of energy. This we know very well from the principles of electrical systems, mechanical systems, hydraulic system, thermal system, and so on. So therefore, the number of energy storing elements in a system decides the order. Since we have to perform so many actions in real time, we use so many energy storing elements, right? Therefore, our system order becomes more. Therefore, the system becomes more complex. Therefore, how to control such complex systems is a challenge for us. So, attempt is made to analyze the use of few controllers used in higher order process control systems. So real-time higher order systems we know very well from our mechanical electrical systems, position control systems, DC position control, induction motor based position control, even speed control. Speed control is actually a second order system. Position control is a third order system. Then chemical plants. So these are process control application, cement industries, fertilizer plants, petroleum refinery plants, and other process control plants. So these are all the plants or the systems which encounter this higher order nature. Therefore, if we have to monitor the process and control the various processes to get our desired objective, then we have to control appropriately. And we know very well that there are a lot of control techniques available. Simple lag lead compensator, lead compensator, or lag lead compensator. Then PID controller is actually most commonly used. Even nowadays, PID control is used in all industrial process control applications. So FLC is a fuzzy logic control, ANN artificial neural network, GA, so genetic algorithm, particle swarm optimization. This is MRAC, model reference adaptive control, and this is any intelligent control. Nowadays we use AI, then we talk about machine learning, deep learning, all that will come in this intelligent control. So the control technique has developed from the simple compensator to the latest IoT based AI techniques, AI intelligent control techniques. So control technique has developed due to the advent of engineering and technology in the last 4 decades, if I am right. This is just an example. I don't want to actually exactly explain this particular system. Why I have put this particular slide is just to make the learners have a feel of the process control system. So this is actually a heat exchanger system. So here we get that hot water. That hot water temperature is actually transmitted to a digital signal, and the digital signal is actually controlled. That digital control signal is converted to an analog signal, which acts as an error to pump the pressured steam into the exchanger till we get the required amount of hot water. So this is actually a closed loop control system. So that means this valve, heat exchanger, transmitter, this sensor, this is a sensor. So all these form the closed loop system. Therefore, in this particular case, if we see, we may have exchanger response to steam flow gain, time constant, it will have a time constant. So these are all the specifications. I don't want to go into the details of this. Why I am saying this, normally people will start with the transfer function and we may not have the physical meaning in some cases. Just to overcome the difficulty, what I have done is, I have shown the system. So this is GP of us is nothing but this heat exchanger. Whatever heat exchanger that I have shown here, that heat exchanger is represented by the transfer function model. So this 50 is this 50, this 30 is this time constant. So what I want to tell you is, whatever is the actual parameters in the system, that only we use in the modeling. And what is this e power minus 1s? This is actually called the transportation delay, or simply the time delay in the process. Anyway, I will come to that in the next slide. And this is the valve transfer function. This is the disturbance transfer function. And this is the sensor transfer function. So these three put together is G of s. This is your H of s. In a closed loop control system, we know very well. We can find out G of s by 1 plus G of s H of s. However, if we take this forward path transfer function, that is product of all this, this is going to be the overall plant transfer function with this valve, and then I can say this disturbance. So this we can check. Then coming to the transportation lag, this is the transportation lag that I have shown. This is e power minus 1s. This transportation lag actually occurs generally whenever something is flowing inside a tube. For that flow to happen from one part to another, it will take some time. That is actually called the transportation delay. That transportation delay is very, very important in any process control application, because that is going to decide the stability and the dynamic behavior of the system. The transportation lag is actually represented by e power minus st, where this t is the lag or the delay. Because for the fluid to flow from one end to another end, maybe the steam or maybe the hot water, whatever it is, any liquid, that is the transportation lag. This is applicable to any liquid level control or fluid level control happening in the process control system. So if you take the sinusoidal transfer function, it will be e power minus j omega t. So if we take the magnitude and phase angle, the magnitude is 0 dB. The phase angle, it is e power minus j theta form, therefore minus omega t. So omega is in radian per second, this is in time, therefore it will be in radians. Normally we try to represent the phase angle in degrees, therefore pi radians corresponds to 180 degree, means minus omega t corresponds to what? That is what we have written. And since this magnitude is 0 dB, in decibel it is 0 dB, without decibel it is 1, because modulus of e power minus j omega t is cos omega t plus j sin omega t, which is 1. Therefore what happens is, the magnitude plot is like this. Magnitude plot is simply a 0 dB line. However, the phase plot goes like this. We know very well in control system, whenever the gain crossover frequency is less than the phase crossover frequency, system is stable, otherwise system is unstable. And we have to have the phase angle at gain crossover frequency less than minus 180 degree. Here you can see for these frequencies, that is whenever the frequency is more than 2, not more than 2 I would say, more than 4, I think it is more than minus 180 degree, because minus 171, minus 180 will somewhere here. So it goes like this. So the idea is, because of this transportation lag, the phase angle at the gain crossover frequency becomes more negative than minus 180, meaning that is what written in minus 57.27 omega by substituting some value of t. So you can find out for what value of omega this is just minus 180. That is the frequency, critical frequency at which the system is just stable. Thereafter system will become unstable. For example, here it is some 3 point something if I am right, because if it is 60 it is 3, since it is 57.27 probably 3.1 something like that. So what I want to tell you is, in the transportation lag, what is very important is this phase angle. Therefore, we have to stabilize the system for this transportation lag also, apart from the poles and zeros present in the transfer function. Anyway, here I have taken only the transportation lag. Of course, in the real time, we may have 50 by 3s plus 1 means this is a first order process. So here you can say it is a second order after accounting for this wall and this disturbance. So it is going to be a second order transfer function. So if it is a second order transfer function means it will have two poles, and this is a transportation lag. So we have to account for this also. That is what I wanted to emphasize. And for the benefit of understanding the various control techniques and to quickly review the control techniques, I have just taken a third order system. So this is a third order system we know very well, and it has got a pollet origin, and s square plus 6s plus 8 you will have some poles. So you have a plant. So I am using a PID controller, right? So I want to tune this PID controller. So generally, whenever I want to do like this, I should draw the root locus. So write a program for finding the root locus, or obtain the root locus from this. So find out the crossover, that is the frequency at which it cuts the imaginary axis. So this is the critical frequency or critical period. From the frequency you can find out the period. Similarly, you can find out the gain. I think those who have worked in root locus plots, you may be aware of this. So you can find out the critical gain and critical period. So from the critical gain and critical period, you can tune the PID controller. So here PID controller means we know very well that it has got a proportional part, it has got a derivative part, and it has got an integral part. So proportional part actually makes the system response faster, but at the cost of stability. Integral, what does it do is, it will reduce the steady state error. Derivative, it will reduce the oscillations. So by Ziegler-Nichols tuning, this Kp, Td, Ta are tuned, and you can see that the step response of the third order system is like this. So around 70% overshoot, So system is highly oscillatory. Therefore, in real time, if you operate, it may even be unstable. That means continuously oscillatory. So by fine tuning, by Ziegler-Nichols fine tuning, after doing the Ziegler-Nichols, I am doing fine tuning. So by doing some fine tuning, I get the response like this. So here I can find that the overshoot is close to 20%. Right. Suppose you make use of a fuzzy logic control, the same system, I make use of a fuzzy logic control. So in fuzzy logic control, we have to choose the membership functions. So here the membership functions are chosen based on the error and the derivative of error, because those two are fed as the input to the fuzzy logic controller. So you can see the membership functions for the output as well as the membership functions for error and derivative of error. We know very well whenever the output is less than the set point, error will be positive. If the error is positive, dE by dt will be negative, like that. So because of these two, what will happen is we make we have to tune the fuzzy logic controller first of all based on the output of the system. So this output of the system, whatever we get the output, this output based on the Ziegler-Nichols tuning, we are taking for tuning the fuzzy logic controller, and we formulate the fuzzy rules, simple fuzzy rules, just by taking E and E dot. So by taking that E and E dot, and with these four different status, we can see that the fuzzy logic controlled output of the third order system is like this. Therefore, when we I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm getting the phone call. I'm sorry. I'll keep it in mute. Yeah. Sorry for the disturbance. So the fuzzy logic controlled output will be like this. So here I am controlling the overshoot. I am also controlling the dynamic response. So we can see that the time response specifications. This is a Ziegler-Nichols tuned PID controller. So you can see from this one, and this is the fine tuned, and whatever I have shown just now is the fuzzy logic output. So you can see that the fuzzy logic output has reduced the overshoot, and it has also made the settling time to somewhat optimum value 4.75 second, much less than these two. Steady state error is also 0. Anyway, steady state error is 0 in all the three cases because it is a type 1 third order system. See, generally a type 1 system subjected to a step input will track the input with 0 steady state error. This is by control principles. Right. Now, what I am trying to say is similarly you can do for any system. You can do your neural, you can do the neural network based control or GA based controller or PSO based controller, or even you can use the hybridized version and phase, anything you can use. But what I wanted to emphasize is generally any controller or compensator is nothing but adding a pole or zero. For example, let us say this is the system. I have only two poles. In that case, my root locus plot will be like this. This is my root locus plot. So a root locus starts from here. They break away here. One goes like this, another goes like this. Suppose I add one pole. See, one pole is added. There are two poles. I have added one pole. So just by adding a pole, what happens is the root locus has turned like this. That means system has become unstable. So generally, adding a pole to a system will make the system unstable. Here, see, same two poles, but I have added a 0 to the left of this pole. So what happens is root locus starts from here, one root locus, another root locus starts from here, break away. One goes like this, another goes like this. Then here again break away, one goes like this, another goes like this. That means when you are adding a 0, it has actually shifted the response from here to the left. So the response is shifted from the already existing area to the left hand side because it has shifted to the left hand side of this. So whenever it is shifting to the left hand side means the system is not only stable, dynamically it is faster. That means it has got more relative stability. So addition of 0 always improves the stability and makes the system faster. So here 0 is added in between. Here 0 is added here, 0 is added in between. So one root locus goes like this, another root locus like this. Here I have added 0 like this. So system is stable only, but the response is slower because one root locus goes like this, but another root locus goes like this. Therefore, compared to this is slower. So what I wanted to tell from this particular slide is Generally, by proper addition of a pole and zero to a system, we can make the system to respond in a way that we want. What we want from any control application, we want the system to track the input, right? So it has to track faster, error should be reduced, overshoot should be reduced, and system should finally settle down at lesser time. So this is what we want from any system, whether it is a chemical system in a chemical plant or fertilizer plant or agrochemical, whatever it is. That is the objective. So to add my justification, what I have done is one more thing also I have done. 3 poles if I have, what will happen? See here, 3 poles, system is unstable. Now I have added one more pole, system has become again unstable, but the plot, I mean the nature of the plot has changed. But I have added 1 0, see 3 poles, I have added 1 0, what happens? The entire response is shifted to the left. So what is observed from, similarly here also you can observe. So what is observed from these 3 slides, addition of a pole to a stable system will affect its stability. Addition of a 0 to an unstable system will improve its stability. Addition of a 0 will affect or improve the transient response depending upon the position of placing the 0, because that is what we have seen. Where exactly we are placing the 0, see here I have placed 0 like this, here I have placed 0 like this, here I have placed 0 like this. Based on the position of 0, it affects the transient response. So in a nutshell, I can say just by adding a simple 0 and pole, it is possible to achieve the desired transient response. A simple pole 0 addition also will help us to achieve the desired response. This has facilitated to design a simple first order compensator as per the procedure explained here. So this is the procedure that I have developed for type 1 higher order systems. That is, whenever you want to control type 1 higher order systems, that is third order or fourth order or fifth order, any order, if it has got a pollet origin, similarly a system with transportation lag or without transportation lag, we can use this procedure. So we have to choose the steady state requirement. That is, steady state requirement, we know we have to choose in terms of velocity error constant or position error constant or acceleration error constant. Type 1 system we normally choose in terms of kV. So based on that we have to choose the desired gain, and we should find out the Bode plot, and we should draw the Bode plot for the system, or we can even use the root locus. But finally gain crossover frequency is very important if you are using the Bode plot. So gain crossover frequency of the compensated system is chosen such that it corresponds to desired phase margin. We have to fix the desired phase margin. Anyway, we will see how to fix the desired phase margin with the help of an example. As I have said, the compensator is nothing but a simple 0 and pole. Because addition of a 0 and pole, it affects the dynamic response and it is able to give the desired results that I have already shown in the effect of addition of pole and 0. So the gain of the uncompensated system is determined at the desired gain crossover frequency. So for example, a desired phase margin is say 45 degree. At that 45 degree gain crossover frequency is something, means at that gain crossover frequency find out the plant gain. Plant gain means without controller what is that we have to find out. Then we have to use this formula. This is the plant transfer function, which may be a second order or third order or fourth order, whatever it is. And this is the controller gain that we are choosing based on the steady state requirement. And this is the pole 0, that is addition of pole and 0. That is the compensator that we choose. And what we do is, we are choosing this omega into TA in such a way that it is a very big number. That is phase angle contribution made by the desired compensator at the gain crossover frequency. For example, at the omega g, we have to make it 0. That is the principle. If you compare with the lag compensator or lead compensator, that is a different principle available in the literature. But what I have done is, I have made the phase angle contribution of the compensator 0 at the desired gain crossover frequency. That means phase angle of 1 plus j omega Ta minus phase angle of 1 plus j omega Tb at the desired gain crossover frequency will be 0. Like that we have to choose. Then choose Ta and Tb. Then the compensated transfer function. After selecting Ta and Tb based on this, we know Kc also. For this we have to actually tune the, we have to again find out whether we get the desired response. So if we get the desired response, that means our tuning is correct. For example, this is a third order system with a time delay. I have already started with the heat exchanger example only. So that wherein I have shown e power minus 1s. So here you can see e power minus 0.23s. That means this 0.23 is a time delay. 0.23 second is a time delay. And it has got a pole at origin. It has got a pole at minus 0.7, minus 7. Therefore, in open loop, the system is stable. So I am choosing the desired gain and phase margin. So here, how to choose the desired gain and phase margin is very simple. Normally, the phase margin is very, very important when you are going for the Bode plot based compensator design. So use PID controller design by already shown example, that is Ziegler equal tuned and fine tuned, or any method. A number of methods are available in the literature for PID controller tuning. So choose the best method and for particular system, and find out the rise time, settling time, overshoot, then gain margin, phase margin. Then you make this phase margin, whatever phase margin that you get in the PID controller, as the desired phase margin. That is what I have said in the procedure. Desired phase margin. How to choose the desired phase margin? So PID controller should be taken as the reference, because always PID controller is the versatile, most commonly employed controller used in any process control applications. So take that phase margin as the reference phase margin. From that phase margin, you go for designing the compensator as per the procedure. Anyway, here I have shown for compensator and lag lead also, just to have a comparison. And you can find that here there is some iterative tuning. Iterative tuning means if the desired results are not obtained, we have to retune the controller, retune the compensator. That is not at all required in this particular proposed design. So you can see that even though the rise time is more than this, the settling time, the overshoot, if we compare, anyway, settling time here it is thought to be higher, but the overshoot is less. The overshoot is less, and the phase margin is also you are able to get to this particular thing. Whereas the lead compensator, when you use maximum, I am able to get only 49.5. Therefore, the desired phase margin and the desired time domain specifications are comparable to this PID controller, or even slightly better than this. I will show with another example. Anyway, all these responses are shown, and we can see that the proposed controller, this is very faster. Similarly, the Bode plot, all that are shown, that you can check. So this is without time delay. A similar system without time delay. See that you have a high open loop gain, 58,390, and it has got poles at minus 36, minus 100 and 0. Here PID controller tuning is done, as I have already said. So I get 69 degrees. So that 69 degrees is chosen as the desired phase margin. As per the procedure that is proposed, the compensator is designed. Also the lag and lead compensators also designed, and we can find that the settling time is very, very less compared to all the compensators and controller. Even rise time is also comparable. Then the overshoot is also less. So that we can note on from this particular thing. Anyway, the frequency response, step response and frequency response specifications are also there. So the proposed controller is like this. See, almost no overshoot, no overshoot, the green colored one. Anyway, for tuning the compensator and compare the effectiveness, Bode plots of the systems are, the same, Bode plots of the same system for the different combinations are also shown. Similarly, you can see here, there is no time delay. there is no time delay. But in uncompensated mode, the system is unstable. Even the open loop stable, uncompensated unstable. Even an uncompensated unstable system is made a stable system. See, if you use a PID controller, we get that 60°. And what I have done is the same reference I have chosen. So I am able to get a better, smaller rise time, smaller overshoot, smaller settling time. So the step response, then the Bode plot. Yeah, this is still a higher order system. See, fifth order. So far I have shown only third order. So we may not agree if I say my compensator is better or effective only with third order, because most of the systems that we encounter in real time are third and higher order, because I have already shown in the heat exchanger system number of elements connected in the process. When you add more and more elements in the process, every element will have a time constant. Because of that only it will increase the order of the system. So this is a fifth order system. So you can see for the fifth order system, the compensator design, lag, lead. See the PID controller, whatever that is designed by some method. So it evolves a 60° phase margin with some rise time, settling time, overshoot. So I am able to get still lesser than that. And anyway, this is definitely better than the lag lead compensator. I should finally compare with the PID controller only, because PID control is taken as the reference. So the unit step response, the frequency response. Then for simple second order system also I have tried. So from second order to fifth order with the time delay, without time delay. Because I should not see just the mathematics, I should see the real impact. That is why I have taken the time delay also. In your first system I have taken time delay. For the rest of the systems I have not taken the time delay. We can take the time delay and tune the system. So for a second order also it gives a better results. So these are the responses, unit step responses. So frequency responses. So what do we infer from these case studies? So we have done a case study on the effectiveness of the use of the simple first order compensator just by adding a 0 and pole. This effectiveness we have justified by comparing the response with a lag lead compensator, PID controller, and we can see that the proposed compensator design procedure is useful to meet the desired frequency domain specifications in various lower and higher order systems. So right from second order system to fifth order systems, with the time delay, without time delay, for all the combinations I am able to get that desired response. And the proposed compensator procedure is not iterative in nature, in the sense when we use a lag compensator or lead compensator, if we do not get the desired phase margin, we have to retune. Here we don't have to retune, because we have taken a procedure that is designed in such a way that phase angle contribution by the compensator at the desired gain crossover frequency is 0. So that ensures that this is non-iterative. So it yields better results compared to a PID controller. So naturally the question that may be asked by the learners is, when we have a lot of intelligent controllers, why can't we apply the intelligent controllers? See, generally when we go for the intelligent controllers, we have to tune the controller, number one. When we want to tune the controller, then we may have to have a lot of data analytics. In the real time, if we have to do a lot of data analytics. And if we have to do a lot of data analytics, definitely we need more space in the cloud. Therefore, it actually affects the computing. When it is possible to achieve the response with a simple controller, normal pole and zero, why should we go for a intelligent controller, especially for this type of systems? So I am not saying that I should not use the other controller for other systems, especially for type 1 higher order systems. I am saying I have tested some of higher order systems with pollet origin in the open loop. So continuous tuning is not at all required. So we can easily implement simple zero and pole even with a normal lag and lead compensator, analog compensator or simple digital compensator will help us to implement this. So very simple. So we don't have to scratch our head and do the coding like how we do for intelligent controller or something like that. Maybe for some other systems we may have to employ the intelligent controller or even advanced PID control technique, fractional order systems, all that we may have to use. But what I want to justify is for type 1 higher order systems we can try this. So that is why I said since it yields comparable results, use of intelligent controllers for such systems is limited. We don't have to think about the intelligent controllers. We can simply make use of this. So the proposed first order compensator, that is simply a zero and pole, yielding good results for type 1 second, third, fifth order, fourth order with and without time delay. So it is giving a better result than the lag and lead compensator, comparable results to a PID controller. Therefore, I can use for these type 1 second, third and higher order systems, I can use this first order compensator as an alternative to a PID controller. So we can use it as an alternative controller to a PID controller. So the desired specifications can be fixed based on the results of the PID controller in such systems. So that is what I have done. Every case PID controller specification I have done. That PID controller specification I have taken as a reference. That reference I have tuned the lag lead compensator and the proposed compensator. So scope for future work. So to extend the use of the proposed compensator further, we know there are a lot of techniques available to reduce a higher order system into an equivalent type 1 third order system. Right? So if it is possible to reduce a higher order system into an equivalent type 1 third order system, Pade approximation, many techniques are available. If it is possible, a big system can be made into a simple system. In that simple system, if it is like a type 1 third order or type 1 fourth order, then the desired specifications can be fixed based on the real-time study. Because we know the uncompensated system performance, we know how to tune a PID controller, all that. So based on that we can do. Similarly, this design procedure, whatever I have done, we can check how to extend its suitability to type 0 and type 2 systems. That is, suppose I have S square term or S term in the real plant. So how to investigate? So this is what I wanted to tell. So these are the references. These are the references that I have made for this presentation. So these are the references. So if you have any queries, you can, I think you would have posted in the chat box. So if it is coming within my domain of knowledge, I will definitely answer. So thank you very much for your patient listening. So I thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to give this presentation. Thank you.